This is our second time taking cut flowers down to the Michinoeki, and the first time I made mixed bouquets, but this time I'm only going to make marigold bouquets. This is the number of blooms we got since last week. Since we're new to tomatoes, we're going to try a couple different methods to see what works best. So far we've been letting them ripen on the vine, and Evan is now going to try plucking them a little bit early and letting them ripen on a towel in a cool room. So we'll see which method we prefer. So if I haven't said it before, the design of this whole plot here has been Evan's plan. I have only assisted where he asked me to in the construction of the bamboo and the maintenance. But as a not avid gardening person myself, without a background in gardening, I really appreciate the marigolds because the bees love them. They are good for keeping pests away, and they're also good for cut flowers. Evan says he chose this variety specifically for cut flowers, so they would be dual purpose. And it's sort of hard to see, but you can see just how many buds are going to be ready to open soon. This whole row is just going to keep producing blooms for quite some time. Back in New Orleans, we used a similar design for our cucumber beds, having the trellises double as a bean support. And these beans will just produce and produce and produce a crazy amount. We were so sick of beans, but they just started, and we're going to take them to the farmer's market here. These are my favorite bumblebees. This time of year, they're just everywhere, and they are friendly little guys. He likes our beans.
Who doesn't?
Alright, this is today's harvest. We're going to take these down and clean them up and separate the ones that are ripe from the ones that need ripening and assemble these bouquets. Alright, so if it's not clear already, I don't really know what I'm doing here, but I took the marigolds that were in bloom today, sort of arranged them by length of stem, and wrapped them in 3 little bouquets. Evan came up with this simple way to tie them, which is just a strip of butcher paper wrapped in a single piece of twine. Interestingly, to me at least, my first job when I was in junior high was working for my friend and neighbor's mom who ran a rose shop, flower shop, mostly roses. So my first job, making $5 an hour, that I kept track of my hours writing on a little paper sheet in their kitchen, was to take roses and strip the thorns off, and sometimes I got to make boutonnieres and corsages for the high school dances. So Stacy, if you happen to be watching while I've been working with these flowers, I've been thinking of you.
So when we were living in Louisiana, right on the border of St. Bernard Parish, which is home to the famous Creole tomatoes, I wouldn't buy too many of them because every time I saw them in stores they were sort of a pale color and not a nice bright red. So who was I to know that if you take them home they'll just ripen on your countertop? If this works, this is going to save us a lot of time and it's going to prevent a lot of bird damage.
Alright, we wrapped up the long beans in the same way that we did the bouquets, so that's another one with no plastic, pretty easy. Now, while all the Michinoekis are under the same umbrella, each one is independently operated, and in our experience working with 2 of them, they both work a little bit differently. So this one that we're taking our veggies to today asks us to make these little tags that have the name and the pick date and then their contact information at the market.
This is how we're selling our tomatoes. This is a container that they use to sell takoyaki in, and it's actually made of wood.
We did try taking some beets down in the little takoyaki boats, and it was so hot down there that the beets just wrinkled up and went bad almost immediately. So we are trying to figure out a non-plastic solution for beets, because the farmers who talked to us down there said that they would have lasted longer if they were wrapped in plastic. But so far all of the tomatoes and beans that we've taken down up till this point have sold very quickly, which is awesome. And we've only taken down 1 load of flower bouquets before this, and all of those sold except for 1. But also the other Michinoeki seems to bring their veggies inside on really hot days, so we might try taking some beets down there and seeing if they last longer.
All right, let's head on down to the market.
Thanks for watching our video about our first veggies and flowers going down to the Michinoeki farmers markets on Ōmishima. As you know, we really like data and numbers in this channel and looking at things and analyzing them. And we're just starting to get the monthly reports from the Michinoeki about our sales and how things are doing. So we don't have enough data yet to make a video about that. I'd like to get another month or two so we can compile it together and get some good information out there about what's working and what might not be working. We get a report from each Michinoeki once a month, but we only have about 1 month of honey sales data, even though they've been on the store shelves almost 2 months. And the first month of reports that we have from them was just seedlings, so that was before we had our honey ready. And since then we've also been selling veggies and flowers, as you saw in this video. So once we get another month or two of reports, then we can take a look at that together. And speaking of numbers, it's been our plan all along to keep really close track of the weight of all of the vegetables that we produce in our various fields. If we have the weight of what you're outputting from your fields, then you can analyze as you improve soil health, also look at what's working and what's not. For the time being, we just have so much going on, and we're harvesting and taking tomatoes down to the farmer's market just every few days. So right now, weighing everything is not really feasible. So we're going to look at our sales numbers of tomatoes and the various vegetables as a means of analyzing our output for this year, and then hopefully we'll get some sort of routine in place by next season or next year, so then we can start looking at the weight of vegetables that we're producing and how that weight number increases or decreases based on changes that we make to the soil. So thanks for watching. I know we cover a wide variety of topics here at Benton Homestead, and I know that not everybody is going to be interested in every single one of our videos that we make. I know we cover immigration and visas, running, opening, and operating a corporation in Japan, farming, honeybees, house renovation, abandoned houses, akiyas in general, and real estate, life in Japan. I know not all of you are going to want to watch all of our videos, so I try to pace things so different topics come out regularly, and I try to keep things interesting for those of you, knowing that you aren't going to want to watch all of our videos unless you happen to be interested in all of those topics. So I always appreciate your feedbacks and comments, and even if you just are watching and silently liking the videos, please know that it is appreciated, and we thank you very much. As an ending to this video, we're going to go back a couple of months to when Evan harvested our potatoes, because this is the one time that we did have the time to weigh our output. So here you go.
A little update on our crate potatoes, which you may remember from a previous video. So we filled a bunch of used crates with dirt from the seasonal pond up at our bee yard, and these two piles of potatoes were in front of our house, so they were using different soil, and this was served as our monitor station. The back pile was in compost, and that comes out to 800 grams. The front pile was in just sandy soil from the garden, and that came out to 700 grams. I'm estimating a 200 gram input, that's 2 potatoes per crate. So we're looking at a 4-fold to a 3.5-fold increase, which is not great. And up at the bee yard, they didn't get any water at all. I probably only watered these crates maybe 3 times throughout the season, and the other ones didn't get any water at all, so I'm not hopeful for what we're going to see up there. This was my first time growing potatoes, so I expected them to fill up the crate, and they really only stayed in the top half of it, so the bottom half was totally empty. So I can see how people will grow potatoes in containers and they'll fill up the soil over time. And that would have gotten us a lot more yield, probably from the same soil quality, but that sort of defeated the whole purpose, which was to grow potatoes with basically 0 effort. So I can see this method having a niche application in our future farming. The big thing to overcome was just the weight of these crates. It was a lot of weight to schlep around, so if you can figure out a way around that, it might be useful. But in the meantime, if you've got a lot of dirt to move and you've got some space to put it in crates and grow some potatoes in the meantime, you might find this useful.